Dragon Awakens by LeJaya Smith. I woke up to feel a burning sensation on the side of my right thigh. I pulled back the covers from my legs and start to see red lines form before my eyes. I sat in silence, taking deep breaths as I watched the burning lines start to curve and make it bigger. When the line stopped, I stepped closer to the mirror to get a better look. But when I looked back up, my brown eyes turned green.
I'm Don Shalvey. I am social distancing today from our ranch in San Joaquin, California, and honored to serve as the host for this wonderful event and celebration of Life Learning Academy. Before we jump into our event, let's really celebrate the terrific opening music that was done by our artist Scoons, Life Learning Academy student LeJaya, and musical editor and Life Learning Dean of Students, Adam Yaz. I came to California during the Summer of Love, 1967, and never looked back. I've served as a public school teacher, principal, superintendent for the past 50 years, with the last 11 of those years serving as the deputy director at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where I make investments in K-12 education. During that time, I've traveled over 1 million miles looking for the best and the brightest programs and practices to enrich the lives of young people across the country. And quite frankly, I didn't have to get on an airplane to find what I would call one of the most promising lighthouses for young people across the country. And that's Life Learning Academy. Since I first visited Life Learning Academy, and on a subsequent trip, my wife, Susie, we have become unabashed champions for the school, the young people that are served, and the leaders and staff in this program. They truly understand the value of community and have utilized community to make a difference for the young people in their care. Life Learning Academy is a small school that makes a big difference in the lives of the youth they serve from around the Bay Area. Youth leave Life Learning Academy with a real connection to life skills, to academic skills, to work skills, and to developing an occupational identity that brightens their future. Today, we're going to get a chance to understand how Life Learning Academy has made the important transformation from their normally terrific program to an even more valuable program in this post-COVID time that we are about to enter. I know you're going to have a million questions and comments and thoughts about Life Learning Academy and the things you hear today. So please put your questions in the chat. And without further ado, let's get to the main event of our time together today. I'd love to introduce you to two of my heroes, founders Terry Delane and Craig Miller.
Hi, I'm Terry Delane, Life Learning Academy Executive Director and one of the founders of the school. You'll hear more about me a little later, but right now I'm going to hand it over to Craig. He's going to introduce himself and tell you a little bit about the history of Life Learning Academy.
Thanks, Terry. My name's Craig Miller, and I'm one of the co-founders of Life Learning Academy. Life Learning is a charter public high school located on Treasure Island in San Francisco that serves 60 kids a year. We believe that every single kid, no matter what they've done or what's happened to them, can turn their life around. I'm currently the chief operating officer here, but I've had just about every job you can have at a school. Life Learning was started about 20 years ago. Terry and I were working at Delancey Street Foundation, and Delancey Street was hired by then Mayor Willie Brown to oversee a reform of the juvenile justice system in San Francisco. As part of that study, we did a one-day snapshot of every kid detained in juvenile hall. We then convened a group of stakeholders and community leaders and sat around and discussed each kid's situation. And we asked ourselves two key questions. One, in a world of unlimited resources, where else could that kid be and not be in detention? And two, where in that kid's life story could we have intervened that would have prevented further involvement in the juvenile justice system? From that study came the current blueprint for the juvenile justice system in San Francisco and, importantly, Life Learning Academy. Life Learning serves kids who are involved in the juvenile justice system, at risk of involvement in the juvenile justice system, and kids who just haven't made it anywhere else. And we've been extraordinarily successful with all those groups. Our kids face unbelievable obstacles in their life. And right now, they also faced a global pandemic. Life Learning very quickly developed a distance learning program for our kids that replicated all of the academic and social emotional supports the kids get at the school. Highlights of that included our science teacher sending home seeds and planters so kids could grow things at home. It included our PE teacher designing exercise videos that they could do anywhere, any place. It included our chef developing meal kits and instructional videos so kids could cook meals for their families. It included us sending home to every kid a computer and purchasing hotspots so they all had Wi-Fi so they could participate in all of these programs. It included Terry talking to kids daily and weekly to making sure that they were okay. It included the staff developing what we call morning meeting videos where the whole community gets together each day and talks about what's going on and supports each other. The teachers and the staff did an unbelievable job jumping in right away and taking on this challenge. The other thing is we kept our student dormitory open. Those kids did not go anywhere. So the dorm has been fully operational, staffed 24 hours a day, providing activities and support for the kids who live there. I'd like to have Terry tell you a little more about the obstacles those kids have been facing and how they've overcome them.
Thanks, Craig. Let me tell you about our students. The fact of the matter is that our kids got through the last part of this school year because they are resilient. And of course, some did better than others. The reason some did better than others, and honestly, this was true before the pandemic, is the difference between the kids who are offered structure, who are surrounded by support, and those who don't have that. Even in regular times, the people who care for our kids do not have the resources to support their successes at school. The adults in their lives are facing insurmountable obstacles, and that can create chaos at home. COVID is a time of unprecedented strain on families and communities. And the communities that our kids come from have been hit the hardest. At Life Learning, we build a community that provides structure, support, and opportunity. What we did when we had to close the school was create the community from a distance. We held on to them. We stayed connected. And that's the reason they got through it. In fact, it's the reason why, even with all that they are facing, every single one of our students who was supposed to graduate in June graduated. Now, some didn't do as well with distance learning. We have a student who was really starting to get it right before the pandemic hit. He was coming to school, he was doing his work, and he was basically opening up to change. His mom is in jail, and like the majority of our students, he has experienced very much trauma. But he found an anchor with us at LLA. And since the pandemic, he's been missing in action. He's on the run, and he has dropped out. Now we can compare him to Sunny. She lives in the dorm. Before she came to LLA, she was always fighting, running away. She lived in unbelievable chaos. Now she's here in the dorm. She does all of her schoolwork. She's employed through our workforce development program. She is happy, she's calm, and she's optimistic. I get what it means to live in chaos because that's what it was like for me growing up. I grew up in a family where everyone was an addict. Along with that came violence and complete unpredictability. And just like our kids, I was always running away and I was really making self-destructive choices. And it was like that for me until I found a community that could support me, that I learned to live in every day. Finding that community is what saved my life. And that is what we do. We pull them up and they realize how capable they are. Last year, we completed the construction of a student dormitory on campus and opened it for our homeless students and the students who we knew would benefit from the opportunity of living in this peaceful, stable, structured setting. The dorm is open all year, provides support and activities and an extended period of transition after students graduate. I am proud to say that we have been able to keep that dorm open during the pandemic. I'm also thrilled to tell you that in June, 18 students graduated. And for some schools, graduation day means the school year ends. But our kids count on us to keep it open. We have a year-long model. And what we do is help them with jobs during the summertime. So this year, we had to reimagine how to do that. We knew that we just could not close down. Craig can tell you more about our jobs program.
When the school year ends in June, Life Learning implements a summer employment program. This year, during the pandemic, we really felt like we had to do more. And so we developed a virtual summer employment program for every single Life Learning Academy student, where they could work 8 to 10 hours a week, getting paid $16.50 an hour, which is the required wage in San Francisco. They did virtual courses in typing. They did a yearbook. They did an art class. They did a cooking class. They learned financial literacy. And we felt that more than ever, we needed to stay connected to our students' lives, and they needed to get a little money in their pocket. And so this program has kept us connected to our kids and will through the entire summer, right up to when school starts in the fall. For the dorm kids, we realized we had to do even more. I mean, they're with us all the time. And so in addition to the virtual employment program that the rest of the kids were doing, the dorm kids worked in our garden and they worked in our kitchen preparing meals that we sent home to all the kids, and they worked in our bike shop. We kept them really, really busy. And I'm going to hand it back to Terry so she can introduce some of the dorm kids and you can hear directly from them.
I would like to introduce Laura. She is an incredibly thoughtful, grounded, creative young woman. She's also one of the students that live in the dorm, and she can tell you about her experience living there.
Hi, my name is Laura. I'm 15. I'm a student here at LLA and I live in the dorm. A normal day for me is like I wake up around 10, I eat breakfast, I usually just chill for the morning part. It's kind of different every day. We do different online classes like typing or financial literacy, which is a class that we take. And it helps us open up a bank account, helps us try to save money. Some of our different job opportunities are I work in the garden, I work in the bike shop. We're responsible for keeping our rooms clean. Our cleaning day in the dorms is on Wednesday. That's when we clean our rooms, wash our clothes, clean the bathrooms, and rinse out the showers, just normal stuff. We go on hikes, we go to an oyster farm, we went to the driving range. Each of us has to cook dinner, clean up after, and We also like to play games after dinner. We like to play Monopoly. We like to play card games. We like to watch TV. I like to watch Vampire Diaries. In my free time, I also like to skate. Been trying to learn how to skate. Living here, I feel like I'm always going to be able to wake up in the morning, to know that it's drama free, to know that there's going to be peace and quiet. The staff here are nice. I feel like they care about me. They care about what I'm going to do. They care about what's going to happen to me after high school. It's like everybody's vibe here is positive vibes. There's not much negativity. Nobody holds grudges. If you make a mistake, it's let go and it's addressed. And I like living here. It's a happy home.
She is amazing. Now I would like you to hear from Ricky, who is equally amazing, but he has a very different story. I met Ricky when he was 15 years old, and he was living in an abandoned building with his mom. And I would love for you to hear his story.
So my mom basically worked multiple jobs. My dad wasn't around. I kind of was hanging out with my brother's friends because he wasn't around. He was in a maximum security boot camp for other stuff. After middle school, I had dropped out, and I had to start hanging out with a lot of my brother's friends. They were gang members, and they kind of introduced me to that whole street life mentality. I decided that after hanging out with them, that life wasn't really for me. So I basically found Life Learning Academy, and I was living on Treasure Island at the time, and I just wanted to get myself enrolled again. The staff here, not only the teachers, the entire staff actually cared about you. I always liked the whole mechanic aspect of everything. Like I like to tinker with stuff and just kind of fix problem solving. And I never really rode bikes in San Francisco. I just rode a skateboard and just kind of like that wasn't even a part of my in my mind at all. But when I came here, I started learning about the different tools and about the different bikes and the prices and stuff. And me and my wife, who I actually met here, like when I came 15 years ago, we started our own mobile bike shop. And basically, we always wanted to kind of give back to the community and give back to the youth as far as teaching them go, because that whole each one teach one philosophy kind of stuck with us over the years that we learned here. And we actually we unexpectedly had to move back to San Francisco. So we got back in touch with LLA again, and then they also mentioned that they needed a bike shop instructor, which was perfect because I was looking for a job at the time, and it couldn't have been more ideal. In my life, I needed the right tools. I just didn't know that they were out there. And Life Learning Academy basically gave me the opportunity to ask for them and let me know it was okay for those tools and reach out for help.
I want to offer a heartfelt and personal thanks to Ricky Murphy. Ricky, you are a concrete symbol for the power at Life Learning Academy. You came as a student, you developed an interest in a vocation, you turned that into a business, and you have given your gifts of wisdom and experience to today's Life Learning Academy students. Congratulations. What I've come to enjoy about Life Learning Academy is that they understand the difference between school math and real math. And the difference to me and to them is when we did math in school, there was never a remainder. There was never anything left over. And in real life, real math always has a remainder. There's always a vexing problem. And Life Learning Academy is committed to helping the youth in their care solve those real-world math problems and those real-world vexing questions and challenges in a setting where each and every one of them takes collective responsibility for one another. Whether it's finding the right internship, whether it's understanding how to make the difficult challenge to get to school, to live in the wonderful dorm, to make the transition from home life to work life to school life, to basically understanding that the curriculum and the instructional pedagogy is a real problem-solving setting where youth tackle things they will tackle throughout the rest of their lives. This is what LLA has done. This is their superpower. This is what they really get well. And there's no time more important for that particular philosophy and superpower to take hold than in this new normal that is emerging on us as a result of the pandemic and COVID-19. The Bay Area, like everywhere else in this country, and quite frankly, across the planet, has turned things upside down. While it was easier to think about what you might do for a career, while it was easier to think about a good economy where work would be, quite frankly, easier to find, those things have changed. And it's going to take a set of caring adults to prepare young people for this new normal. And to me, Life Learning Academy does the two things I value the most. They focus on caring rigor, while at the same time, they focus on rigorous caring. The young people that have the opportunity to attend Life Learning Academy, to live there or to travel there a few hours each of their days, get the kind of education that we all want for our children. And these young people, for years now, have turned out to be civic leaders, to be real contributors. And that's why I think Life Learning Academy is committed to growing, to expanding on Treasure Island, and to providing the opportunity to more and more young people in the Bay Area. This is a schooling that I think is second to none, and would encourage you to learn more and more, to ask more questions of Terry and Craig, and to get a feeling for how programs like Life Learning Academy can grow both in the Bay Area and take their model and serve more youth, most of whom will be vulnerable and dealing with vulnerable conditions in their lives, to make them the kind of citizens all of us will be proud of, and their contributions will make us a much stronger society. So thanks to all of you for joining us today. We have a few minutes left, and I want to give Craig and Terry a chance to answer some questions and to sign off with a very optimistic farewell and welcome to the future at LLA.
Thank you, Don. We feel very lucky to have you in our circle. We just want to take a few questions before we end.
I've been following what's happened in education, and it looks like budget cuts at the state and local level. In other words, what's the financial impact of COVID?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're absolutely right. There are steep cuts in public funding happening now and for the next few years. The immediate impact is we've frozen teacher salaries. We've used our cash reserves to cover all the costs of core programming. That's a one-year fix. There are additional costs that we know are coming this year related to all the things we need to do to have school. These are COVID-related expenses. We don't want to have this impact teachers. We don't want to have it impact any of our core programming. And we need to be able to cover the costs of buying new technology, retrofitting the building, setting up outdoor classroom spaces, providing additional transportation to our students so we can have them in person. It's a lot, and we need help with all of it, frankly.
We would love it if you would join us. Tell other people about us. Visit our website at llasf.org. And you can donate or learn more about ways to get involved with us.
I also want to thank everybody for attending. We especially want to thank the Miranda Lux Foundation, the Simpson Put Some Back Fund, and No Kid Hungry for supporting our COVID response. Thank you all.
I cannot tell you how grateful that we are for you all taking the time to learn more about Life Learning Academy. It is because of people like you that our kids are succeeding, because of your support, because of your love, because of your continued involvement, and the belief that our kids deserve to have a great life. We also want to thank the people and the organizations that generously supported this event, including Adam Pizzoni, First Republic Bank, and Mohawk Industries. Thank you so much.
It has only happened to the male in our family, but you are the first female dragon. I stood there in silence, shocked at all the information my dad just told me. My mom sat me down on my bed. She didn't look surprised at what my father just told me. She must have known about his family history, but why didn't they tell me? Why did I have to find out on today out of all the days? This is too much, and I need to get ready for school and focus on winning the volleyball game later tonight.